This is the method of the core process of memorizing a part of the Qur'an. Nowadays, we live in a tactics-based kind of culture, which is fair enough, but I would refer to them as optimizations, like the top 5% maybe, where once you've already got a core process going, then you look towards the optimization processes, which is like, oh, what diet should you have? What time to get up? Assalamu alaikum and welcome to another episode of the Optimized Muslim podcast. In this video, I wanted to do a practical demonstration of the process that I would use if I was memorizing a part of the Quran for the first time. I think with Ramadan coming up, more people than usual they recite the Quran for a start, and therefore some of you may well want to actually memorize a part of the Quran, whether that's some of the surahs at the end or some of the more commonly recited surahs like Surah Yasin or Surah Rahman. So, and also I just wanted to keep building upon the playlist that I created some time back on everything to do with Quran memorization. So this serves as like a practical demonstration, no excuses demonstration, if you like, alongside my other video about how to learn Arabic. This is aside from all of the other kind of requisite steps, such as making sure your intention's correct, all the other different more macro things, if you like. This is more so the process that you would follow when you actually sat there with the Mus'haf in front of you and you need to memorize, say, half a page of the Quran. Some of you may well be thinking it's obvious and you don't even need to watch this, which is good, and then you don't need to watch the video. I think sometimes it just helps because a lot of people have limiting beliefs and they overcomplicate things, make them more complex than they need to be. And if by watching this video you're able to get the belief that you can memorize even one ayat of the Quran, then by extension, if you can memorize one ayat, one ayah, then you can memorize a surah, or you can memorize multiple pages because it's the same process repeated. So that's what I wanted to get across. And also I think we have this fascination with tactics. This is the method, essentially. This is the method of the core process of memorizing a part of the Quran. Nowadays, we live in a tactics-based kind of culture, which is fair enough, but I would refer to them as optimizations, like the top 5% maybe, where once you've already got a core process going, then you look towards the optimization processes, which is like, oh, what diet should you have? What time to get up? How you should set about your desk, whether you should do exercise before. All these kind of things come afterwards. The core process is simply sit down, concentrate, get your intention correct, and begin. Because I did see a post on Instagram and it was talking about how you repeat the first line 7 times and then you repeat the next line 8 times. And I think that follows the trend of putting tactics to something because there's nothing special about them numbers. The method that I will refer to is simply you repeat each line or part of a line or one ayah until you can recall it off by heart, and then you move on to the next one. But you keep joining it back up from the start of where you started that day until you've completed your entire passage for that day. Now, that's how simple it is essentially, and it doesn't really get more complicated than that. This is for memorizing a portion of the Quran for the first time. The review process is different, and inshallah I'll make more videos on that because there's different kind of different framework to follow for that. And this is the process that you would need to follow for the initial first time you memorize it. And I think it's quite obvious, even if no one was to tell you how to do it, and someone was just told with no instructions to memorize it. I think the process that they would follow would closely resemble what the process is. Essentially, you repeat each part of the line or ayah until you can recall it off by heart. That's it. So if you think you don't need anything else, you can switch off the video. But in terms of how that would happen in practice. So here's Suratul Mulk, which some of you may already read before going to sleep. Essentially, you would repeat each line. however many times that you needed to, whether that's 5, 10, 15 times, until you can recall the entire line without having to look at the page of the Mus'haf, right? Once you're able to do that, so let's say you've memorized up to وَهُوَ عَلَى كُلِّ شَيْءٍ قَدِيرٌ, then you need to move on to the next line. You recite that up to maybe لِيَبْلُوَكُمْ, or if you're comfortable, maybe go all the way up to amala, or even the whole ayah. Once you're comfortable reciting that, then before you move on to الَّذِي خَلَقَ, you would recite the entire passage from تَبَارَكَ الَّذِي to وَهُوَ الْعَزِيزُ الْغَفُورُ. Then that's kind of solidified your memorization up to this stage. Then you follow the same process with this. الَّذِي خَلَقَ سَبْعَ سَمَاوَاتٍ طِبَاقًا. Keep repeating that until you're able to recall it off by heart. Join it back up with تَبَارَكَ الَّذِي to طِبَاقًا. And then, again, you follow the same process up until هَلْ تَرَى مِن فُتُورٍ. Join it back up from تَبَارَكَ الَّذِي. So if this was all that you needed to learn that day, once you've got the entire passage, I would again repeat that until it's relatively solid and you're able to comfortably recite it with no mistakes, without looking at the Mus'haf even once. And then that's it. The next day, you would move on to the next passage. And that's the kind of brick by brick basic method, essentially, of how any student of the Qur'an would start off, or at least what I did, in terms of memorizing the entire Qur'an. Now, the overall amount that you memorize in one sitting may well increase or improve as you go, although there is a point where it doesn't really improve much more. But that's the essential basic method. So I don't know if that seemed as though it's not a necessary video, but I wanted to, for the sake of completion, have it as part of the playlist anyway. And if there are any further questions or anything else that you'd like me to cover in relation to this, then please drop a comment in relation to that. And other than that, that concludes this video. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.